Let's talk about the impact of tariffs on currencies, one of the biggest places we see a fallout. Dollar was down 1% earlier, but it's pairing those losses, and it's still at high levels. The president-elect denied reports as planned tariffs would be scaled back. Kathy Lien is managing director of FX strategy at BK Asset Management. Kathy, the gazillion-dollar question is, when is the dollar going to stop strengthening?
I think, it's going to come in the form of weaker U.S. data. I mean, that's really been the singular support for the greenback, because we've got, stronger data basically reducing the chances of any meaningful interest rate cuts from the Federal Reserve this year. Only 50 basis points is what the dot plot is telegraphing. So until we get some consistently weak data, maybe in non-farm payrolls, maybe in ISM services this week, I think that the dollar uptrend will remain in place. But anything that could cast doubt on the outperformance of the U.S. economy will pose trouble for the greenback.
No, I think that's a fair point. But right now, it seems like what's happening is we're seeing global currency adjustments based on anticipation of tariffs as well, don't you think?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, today, the greenback, like you said, and the stock market moved or raced to some of their prior moves on the back of the denial from the Washington Post article by Trump. So the tariffs is a big deal. We saw, back in Trump's term, we saw in November of last year, how these tariffs headlines can really impact the markets. And we saw a good example of that today as well. And that's a taste to come of the volatility that will come from not only the tariffs themselves, but every single piece of headline that hits the news on whether he's going to back off, whether he's going to press forward on the FX market.
So I'm just trying to think through this for a second, Kathy. Ever since his election, the dollar has just rocketed, right? If his team, and I've read some of the work the new NEC guy and others, if they're concerned that the dollar is too strong, and then it's only gotten stronger since he was elected, in part because of whatever these planned tariffs are, then what can be done to actually lower it? Or is it, you know what I mean? Like, what do you do then? What other policies? Shorty, no one wants a weaker economy.
Right. I think at the end of the day, it really boils down to how much pressure there is on this tariff issue. And what I mean by that is he going to have, kind of very consolidated tariffs on certain sectors, or will it be those blanket tariffs that he says? And I think depending upon, how widespread it is, that's going to have a direct impact on the dollar. Also, as he starts his term, what's his primary focus in the beginning? Will it be taxes, tax cuts, and deregulation? Or will it be tariffs and trade wars? Where is the quick wins that he's going to be looking for? And where he places those quick wins is going to determine whether that's going to be near-term positive or negative for the dollar, whether tariffs is front and center, or it's going to be tax cuts and deregulation.
Right, indeed.